All right. Hello. Hello. Everybody there?
Yeah, we weren't on Facebook there for a bit, but now we are.
Yeah. I saw it pick up a little bit late, so I think we're there now. Yeah.
All right. Well, then
Awesome.
we're back.
All right. Well, that was one little glitch, but not our glitch, somebody else's. That's always.
See, dial up versus direct.
Yeah, makes a difference. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Edutainment, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show.
Hey.
My name is Chris Kerwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer, just an amateur, and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts this evening, Mr. Paul Owen from Moonshadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Paul, good evening.
Hello, hello. Dana Carvey,
Hey.
Master of Disguise.
Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory here in St. John. Mike, good evening, sir.
Hello.
And we'd like to welcome all of you tonight from YouTube and Facebook land, and all of you who've been joining us through the local Rogers TV network. Thank you so much for your support. Right, so on tonight's program, a number of you have been out trying to capture that elusive comet. Many of you have had success, and many more have been struggling to find it. It hasn't been the comet of the century, as some have predicted. But as astronomer and comet discoverer David Levy once said, comets are like cats. They have tails and they do what they want. So comets. True.
That's funny.
Yeah, comets certainly are interesting visitors to the solar system, and for a brief time in their existence, we get to enjoy their activity. With the current comet on display and another possibly arriving by the end of the month, we chose the topic of these icy visitors for tonight's program. Now we'll look at where they come from, what they're made out of, and what makes comets so special.
Yes.
Yeah. Also tonight, Final Bud will be back with another celestial treasure to enjoy. Paul's going to have another interesting Rosanna's fun facts to share. Also discuss a couple of celestial events coming up, and we have a number of your wonderful photo submissions to share tonight too. I couldn't get them all on because we'd have to have a whole hour show for that alone, but a sample of some of them anyway. So I guess we'll get started then tonight with tonight's episode and the discussion around our icy visitors. Yeah, I guess.
Well, before we get into that, maybe we should ask everybody, has anybody had luck seeing the comet out there? Naked eye, because we saw it naked eye out here in Hampton. I tried it last night in town. I couldn't see it, but I could see it naked eye out here. And I know it's getting fainter, but are there those who have witnessed it naked eye? I just kind of throwing that out there to see if anybody's seen it yet.
Yeah, Don Lazier says evening, able to see the comet this evening with the naked eye. Well, good for you. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it's getting a bit dimmer, but I mean, if you've got a bit darker sky, the moon is rising about an hour later each night now. So
yeah,
it's helping that point.
Yeah.
But my sister saw it, but she had glasses on. Is that naked eye?
Well, yeah, we could allow that. We could probably allow that. Eyeballs. Just mark one eyeball. So.
It was interesting to see it. It was kind of like when we saw Neowise. but Neowise was a lot brighter. I mean, it was
Oh, it
just
was.
you didn't even have to look for it; it was right there.
It was right there.
This one you had to fight to find it, but once you found it and got your marking posts between the two stars, anyway, it was you could find it every time. But like anything else, you know where it is.
Hmm.
But if you didn't know where it was, we've had people. We were up at Judy's Lookoff here in Hampton. It's a big place you can look over the river and all that stuff. And there were people with binoculars, they couldn't find it. So we had to point it out. Those who didn't know where it was, we had to point it out to them. And then once they found it, you can't unfind it.
Yeah.
But it was more of an averted vision to see it than it was looking directly at it.
Yeah.
I said it may not have been Comet of the Century, but before it came around to our evening, man, some of the shots out of Australia, that was
Oh
Comet of
yeah,
the Century.
yeah. They got the best view of that
Yeah,
one.
just not from our perspective. And that just seems to be the way most comets go anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Robert Gadet said he got it naked eye. Mark Fitkin says barely naked eye last Wednesday. Diane DeGrasse says, I'm sitting outside right now as I watch your show, but no luck.
Yeah.
Edith McCormick said saw it naked eye 3 nights ago. Derek King says just tried to see this evening, but we have some light cloud cover over the west. We did catch it last Sunday night. Naked eye, and it was bright and spectacular, he said.
If you can still see it, but if you got binoculars, you're going to get about another 3 magnitude in vision. So that's probably the best way to see it now.
Yeah, I think so. Kevin Kell says naked eye every night up to last night, waiting to see if it is still tonight. He said mostly a bird of vision, like we should mention, Paul, when you know where it is, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the comet of the century for sure.
Yeah, but you know what? It's still the long tail. It's one of the longer tails I've seen.
It is, yeah.
Comets that I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, it was up to 35 degrees, I believe. So that's quite a length.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see this one again. It's 80,000 years.
Well, they're saying NASA's saying now on one of their sites that it may not be back.
It may not be back. Yeah, the way that it's going out. Yeah. Diane says the glare for myself certainly doesn't help. Let's blame Astro Podcasts. There we go. And Kevin McCluskey says I was out tonight with no luck. So yeah, I mean there is a number of people that haven't seen it, and it's a difficult one to spot. It is, and it is, although it is getting higher each night.
Yeah.
But of course, as it's getting higher, it's also getting dimmer. So yeah, binoculars to find it. Telescope probably going to be your best view right now.
Yeah.
Actually, when you and I were down there, Chris, I was moving the camera around, taking shots, and I found it in the camera and said, "Okay, there's where I look." And then I saw it.
Follow the camera.
Yeah,
That's what I had to do.
Yeah. In the camera, it looked really good, like about an 8-second or 10-second exposure.
Yeah.
And just looking at it, just even live in the camera, which looked better really than what I could do with a photograph, but it was pretty impressive.
Trina is it west or east? Trina, it's west. Just after sunset, and it should be fairly high in the sky now, but it should be about 20 degrees up, I think now. We enjoyed Audrey says we enjoyed watching it with the naked eye, binoculars in with the Sea Star, and Derek says it is the longest tail that I have ever seen on a comet. That's what caught my eye on it. So yeah,
yeah. I'm actually that little Sea Star. I was quite impressed with some of the photographs that thing got.
Yeah,
it did a good job because the exposure time was just about right.
Right.
About 10 seconds is what they say is even with a different type of a camera. That seems to be about the best exposure, given the fact that the moon's right behind it and all the other stuff, right? So.
Yeah. Well, okay, so let's get into a little bit of a talk about them, I guess. See if I can get my slideshow going properly. Don't want it on that screen. But you're not going to see it there. Oops, hang on. I can do this now. Let me put that up around this in here.
What was that PSA where Buddy goes, whoop, fumble? Remember that?
Yeah.
I think he dropped a turkey or something. I can't remember what it was.
Wait, turkey dropping, I remember, was WKRP.
Oh, yeah. That's Nesbitt. That's right. We're in the trouble.
Oh, man.
It was raining turkeys.
Yeah.
I might have to bring it up a different way here.
All right. There it is.
Yeah, if it's just showing it a different way.
If you do a slideshow, it'll get rid of all that stuff from it.
Yeah, but it'll bring it up on an opposite screen. So we'll just have to go this route, I guess. So anyway, okay, we're going to talk a little bit about comets. Comets are leftovers from the dawn of our solar system around 4.6 billion years ago, and consist mostly of ice coated with dark organic material. Now, they have been referred to as dirty snowballs. They do range from a few kilometers to tens of kilometers wide. But as they orbit us closer to the sun, they heat up and they spew gases and dust into a glowing head that can be larger than a planet. This material forms a tail that stretches millions of kilometers, and they may yield important clues about the formation of our solar system. Comets may have brought water and organic compounds, the building blocks of life, to the early Earth and other parts of the system. I wish I could bring that up as a full screen, but it's bringing me right up over the top of Zoom. The Zoom.
Oh yeah.
I can't move it, right? I can't share that screen. Let me try it one more time. Just hang on a second. Bear with me. Right, this one over here. No, it's going to share it on our screen.
So while you're doing that, Alan Legier was saying he was doing 10-second shots and with his camera, and he said it was just awesome.
What were you running for ISO settings, I wonder?
Yeah, and Mark,
1600?
yeah, I'm not sure. Mark Fitkin says tech was the answer for our public night, outstanding in a sea star, which helped us find it, which is nice. Like you did, Mike. Once you found it in your camera, then you can start observing it. To me, it was important to look at it with the naked eye because you wanted those photons in your eye, right? That was.
Yeah. Alan said it was 1600 ISO. That's good. That's what I was shooting as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to try it this way. Hang on now. I'm getting. Now?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, looks good.
Okay. All right, comments. And we get through the first slide. And let's skip past that one. This one. Okay. Now, each comet has a frozen part called a nucleus, often a few kilometers across. The nucleus contains icy chunks, frozen gases with bits of embedded dust. A comet warms up as it nears the sun and develops an atmosphere or a coma. The sun's heat causes the comet's ices to change to gases, so the comet gets larger. The coma may extend hundreds of thousands of kilometers out into space. The pressure of sunlight and high-speed solar particles, or the solar wind, can blow the comet dust and gas away from the sun, sometimes forming a long, bright tail. Now, comets actually have two tails. I'll say two for now. A dust tail and an ion or gas tail. Most comets travel a safe distance from the sun. For example, Halley's comet gets no closer than 89 million kilometers. I'm just going to grab this up to make sure we're still showing on the screen.
Everything looks good here.
Okay, great. Now the current target C2023-A3 had a close approach of about 80 million kilometers. However, some comets called sun grazers actually fly into the sun or get so close that they actually break up and evaporate. And we're done. I'm going to drag this to another spot. Hang on. I don't know why it keeps doing this to me. Probably just me. Gotta be just me. Okay, here we go. Now, comet naming can be complicated. I'm only going to get into a bit of a discussion on the comet because there really is a lot to it. Comet naming, comets are generally named for the discoverer, either a person or a spacecraft. Now, this International Astronomical Union guideline was developed only in the last century. For example, Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 was so named because it was the 9th short periodic comet discovered by Eugene and Carolyn Shoemaker and David Levy. Since spacecraft are very effective at spotting comets, many comets have linear or SOHO or Ys in their name, like Neowise did a short time ago. Okay, now there are two main classes of comets. They're unnumbered type or the numbered type. Under unnumbered, we have a class C, the non-returning comet. This appears to be the initial designation applied to all new discoveries. So C2023 is the one we're seeing right now, which just means it's not going to return. Also with the unnumbered comets, we have the dead or deceased comets in the D class. And under numbered comets, we have the P class, which is the periodic comets with the preceding IAU assigned sequential number. And finally, we have the I class or the interstellar comets. Take all that, put it against this one. So in the case of the current comet in the news, the accompanying number signifies the order of discovery. So 2023, so C means that it's a non-periodic, so it's not going to return. 2023 A3 means that it was the third object discovered in the first half of January of 2023. Finally, the name of the observatory, person, or telescope that discovered the comet is added at the end. So that's where we get the name from.
Tuchinsen?
Chuchinchan, Chichichong.
Chichichong.
Now, there are other comets called sun grazers, and a sun grazing comet is a comet that actually passes extremely close to the sun at perihelion, sometimes within a few thousand kilometers of the sun's surface. Although small sun grazers can completely evaporate during a close approach to the sun, the larger ones can actually survive many perihelion passages. However, the strong evaporation and tidal forces they experience often lead to their fragmentation. So the reason why I mentioned that one is because we got something else to talk about. Sun grazer comets were some of the earliest observed comets because they can appear very bright. Now, some are even considered great comets. The close passage of a comet to the sun will brighten the comet not only because of the reflection off the comet nucleus when it's closer to the sun, but the sun also vaporizes a large amount of gas from the comet, and the gas reflects more light. This extreme brightening will allow for possible naked eye observations from Earth, depending on how volatile the gases are and if the comet is large enough to survive perihelion. Now, these comets provide a useful tool for understanding the composition of comets as we observe the outgassing activity, and they also offer a way to probe the effects solar radiation has on other solar system bodies. And we're bringing all of that because there is some recent talk about a sun-grazing comet that might grace our skies soon, even before the end of the month. Now, that comet is called C2024 S1, so just discovered, and S would be October, or no, September, I guess. The new comet would be closest to Earth on October 24th, coming to within 131.6 million kilometers of our planet. Now, at its peak brightness, which is expected to occur between October 24th and the 28th, the comet could become brighter than Venus and may even be visible to the naked eye under favorable conditions. However, the best opportunities to view the comet will be in the southern hemisphere, particularly just before dawn when the comet will be high in the sky. Now, in the northern hemisphere, skywatchers may still have a chance to see the comet between October 29th and the 31st, although it will likely be dimmer by that time. For those hoping to catch a glimpse, using binoculars or a small telescope can significantly improve the chances of seeing the comet's details. Now, for now, we just have to wait and see if it arrives or survives its trip around the sun. So that's my little chat about comets.
There you go.
They're very interesting things. So, Mike, you want to do your segment?
No.
Yeah.
Hang on. Sorry. Yeah. There. Okay. And there.
Look at the right screen. You should see a comet tail.
Yes, we do.
Actually, two.
We do.
And that's the whole reason we want to get out there and watch comets or see a comet is because of this infamous tail. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the tails. So a comet tail and coma are visible features of a comet when they're illuminated by the sun and may become visible from Earth when a comet passes through the inner solar system. As a comet approaches the inner solar system, solar radiation causes, as Chris said, some of this is going to be said over and over, but causes volatile materials within a comet to vaporize and stream off the nucleus, carrying dust away with them. Blown solar downwind, two separate tails are formed. One's composed of dust, the other composed of gases. They become visible through different phenomena. The dust reflects the sunlight directly, and the gas glows from ionization. Most comets are too faint to be visible without the aid of a telescope, but a few each decade become bright enough to see with the naked eye, which is the one we just have. So like Chris said, this is the way they go, and they'll stretch out a long ways. I mean, 32 million kilometers is a long way for a dust tail to go. But that just shows you there the coma, the ion tail, and the dust tail. So the streams of dust and gas from each from their own distinct tails point in slightly different directions. And you'll see that in some photographs. The anti-tail is part of the dust tail of the comet and seems to point often like a spike towards the sun. This rare phenomenon is an illusion caused by the viewing geometry and typically occurs when the Earth crosses the plane of the comet's orbit, when the comet is relatively close to the sun. Under these circumstances, cometary dust, which lies in a thin sheet legs behind the comet and may be seen edge on as the antitail. And you can see some pictures here to the side of this antitail sticking out from the opposite side that the comet is headed. At the same time, the ion tail, made of gases, always points along the streamlines of the solar wind and is strongly affected by the magnetic field of plasma of the solar wind. The ion tail follows the magnetic lines rather than the orbital trajectory. Parallax viewing from the Earth may sometimes mean that the tails actually seem to point in two different directions, like opposite directions, which is pretty cool. And I thought this was a cute little video if it plays. This is a simulation of this comet that we're watching, Choo-choo-chang, if you like, as it's going by. And watch for this, the two tails coming off it there. And as it comes around, you'll see the anti-tail on the other side. Spins around and boom, look at that. There's your anti-tail. So just it's actually an optical illusion only because of where the Earth is situated compared to where the comet is headed. So comet tails get longer as the closer the comet gets to the sun. The tails are always directed away from the sun. The ion tail points straight away from the sun, and the dust tail curves towards the orbital path. Now, this I found interesting. I come across the other day. But wait, there's a third comet tail. And everybody's going, third comet tail? In the last few years, a new type of tail composed only of neutral sodium atoms has been discovered in comet Hale-Bopp. Much attention has been paid to the release and distribution of sodium in comets. It was not the first time a sodium tail had been observed in a comet. Excuse me. And it can only be seen in super bright comets. So that's pretty cool. You can't see it physically, but they photograph it and it becomes the sodium tail in bright comets. Here's some pictures of some comet tails, for example. It's pretty cool. And here's my pictures of comet tails. All two of them. And that's all I got to say about that. I got to figure out how to stop share.
Awesome, buddy.
Here we go.
So a third tail that, which isn't a wives' tail, it's a comet tail. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know about that.
I did not know about that.
Oh, you're muted, Mike.
They just started seeing that in these brighter comets recently, and now it's become a fixation of science to watch these comets to see about these sodium tails.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'd never heard of it until I was kind of researching comet tails, and I came across it and went, what? Third tail?
It was
Sure.
interesting watching your demonstration of the comet going through and forming the anti-tail.
Yeah.
And when I was watching it, it almost seems like what we're seeing now is the very beginning of the anti-tail before it actually fans.
No, yeah, exactly.
Because there's a very thin line that's ahead of the comet, right? And which we're calling an anti-tail, which it is, but
Yep.
it looks like it's the very first part of the anti-tail, because as that was moving, then all of a sudden that tail would just, the front of it would just, you'd see the thin line, and then right from the nucleus, the whole thing would fan right out and then create the really major one.
Yeah, long tail on the back.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what part of the anti-tail that we're seeing now is it like which part, because it has to go by the sun a certain way, like you're saying, certain things have to align, correct?
Yeah, but it's the leftover dust. We've already, like the comet's already pushed on, and that's the leftover dust that's actually showing up from our point of view, the way the sun's reflecting off it.
Okay.
So it's gonna get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer as the comet moves out. So
Sorry, I had to change my.
there may not even be an anti-tail tonight. I don't know. Like it won't last for very long.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is the first time I've seen one.
Yeah.
We did Comet. Remember Comet Lovejoy back in 2015? It was what we call them dirty snowballs because that one actually had such a bright nucleus that it looked like a almost like you were looking at a star cluster through binocular, like a globular cluster. It was so patchy, right? But then when you actually imaged it, you got the tail off of it, but it still looked like that you had that blue green snowball in the front. This one's a little different in that what we're seeing in this one is just that little tiny nucleus on the end of it, which isn't bright. It's bright, but if you want to overexpose it, you can make it look like what you want. But how it really looks is that just you can see the rock and then everything coming off of it, almost like you see when something enters into the Earth's atmosphere, kind of doing that thing, right? And then there was Comet Neowise, which looked different again. So it's interesting to see, and I'm assuming it's because of how they're coming in at us.
Yeah, it's all from our perspective, right?
Yeah. Anyway, they're far more interesting than I thought they would be. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool.
Okay.
All right, so I guess I'll do my little bird. No, what I'm just going to show two pictures, and yeah, and only because what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to show a picture of the anti-tail that I was able to capture, just to kind of show that, and that was the reason I wanted to capture this one because I saw Adam Block do it. Of course, mine doesn't even come close to representing what Adam Block's did, but it does show it. So I'm just going to figure out where that picture is going to show. There it is there. I'll just share my screen. Where's my screen share? There it is. So there's the comet. And I'm just going to make that a little bit bigger so you can see that a little better. So this one here, if you look at the nucleus, in other words, the rock or chunk of ice or whatever the heck it is, it's quite different. When we did the other one, the comet Lovejoy, this whole part of the comet was like a big ball, and it had all the colors and it had all kinds of cool stuff in it. This one didn't at all. This has just got that little tiny rock, and it's more about what's going on this way, and I'm assuming is what we see. But there's that anti-tail that we're talking about right there. And I'm looking at that, and I was explaining to Mike a little earlier that it seemed that one side of the comet, including the anti-tail, had this almost contrasty kind of a look to it, right up the side of it there. You can see it almost like when you put too much sharpening on a picture, you get that halo line, say, around trees and edges and stuff. And that's what it looked like. Now that I've seen what you talked about, Mike, with that, or showed with that animation, how that kind of fans out, I'm wondering if that's not the case. That's why I was asking, at what point are we in that anti-tail now, from our perspective. So anyway, I found that interesting. So that was the comet from the other night. So there was that I wanted to talk about, but also what I want to talk about is two things. I want to talk about the meteor showers that we get, and also zodiacal lights. And the meteor showers are basically caused by some of this debris that the comets leave behind. And so we'll talk about that. I'm not going to get into it too deep. I'm just going to show a couple of videos. They're like 2 minutes long each, and that'll be about it. But I do want to show you the zodiacal lights, if I can find them. Here we are here. So what the zodiacal lights are, again, it's another light that we're seeing, but it's caused by space debris, but more interplanetary space debris than it is comet stuff. And so what a zodiacal light is, for those who've never seen it, when you see it visually, you're going to see it either in due east or you're going to see it in due west, I guess. Hey, Mike? And what it looks like a triangle of light. Now, if these clouds weren't here when we shot this, you would see that you can probably see the cone. You can see that where it's really, really bright. And if those clouds weren't there, it would actually come down and form a triangle. So I'm going to show a video on what that is and so on. But it's a phenomenon itself. And if you've never seen one of these, good God, who is popping them? Anyway, it's really quite an interesting phenomenon. So I want to show you that. This is a picture that Trudy and I were out at Forbes Beach one night, and we were here for this reason, to get the zodiacal lights, and we were fortunate enough to get them. So, all right, let me just figure out how I can figure out how I'm going to do a video. I got to find out first where it's going to come from. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and then I'm going to share again, and I'm going to show the zodiacal light video first. Just give me a second here to get it up and running. And let me make that larger and fill the screen. And I'm going to share that screen, or I'm going to try to, but it won't let me hold about. Share screen. That's the one. Share. Can you see that zodiacal light screen?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to play the video.
False dawn. This event is caused by sunlight scattering from cosmic dust in the plane of our Earth's orbit. The best time to see zodiacal light is at sunset towards the west, since the sun sets in the west, but it can also be seen at sunrise right before the sun rises in the east. And it also depends on the time in which you go out to observe. In the higher latitudes, it's easier to see the zodiacal light in the early spring and late fall, but if you happen to live in the tropical latitudes, you can see this phenomenon all year round. Zodiacal light often has a conical shape to it, and it forms when sunlight is reflected off the dust in the plane of our solar system. The zodiacal light aligns with the ecliptic, the path of the moon and the sun. So here you can see two planets right within the zodiacal light. That's Venus, and we have Mars right here. Zodiacal light looks different than the Milky Way galaxy because the light is more diffuse and uniform. The Milky Way over here, in comparison, has patches of concentrated light as well as darker areas. The absence of light in these dark areas are due to gas being absorbed by clouds within the galaxy. But here you can see the light is just more uniform. So that's the difference between zodiacal light and light that comes from the Milky Way galaxy. The best time to observe the zodiacal light is when the moon is absent, so this would be in the new moon phase or even during the third quarter phase, since the moon doesn't rise until very late in the evening. Remember, it is best to see the zodiacal light at sunset or sunrise. The zodiacal light aligns with the ecliptic, which is the path of the moon and sun. Here it's highlighted in yellow. So the brightness of the zodiacal light decreases with distance from the sun, so that's why it's best to see this phenomenon during the equinoxes. To see the zodiacal light, a very dark sky is needed. The glow of the light is so faint that any type of natural or artificial light pollution renders it invisible. To see the zodiacal light, avoid any type of light pollution, both artificial and natural. Natural light pollution, of course, would be the moon, where we have artificial light pollution, which would be city lights. As the human population continues to grow, so does light pollution. The International Dark Sky Places program promotes preservation and protection of night skies across the globe, which include communities, parks, and reserve. Check out the International Dark Sky Association to discover more about certified dark sky parks.
Okay, so that's kind of what about the zodiacal lights. Now, what I do want to show next, let me see if I can escape this, is the meteor showers. And with this one's quite interesting in of itself, because what the meteor showers are, first of all, are very predictable. And so a lot of people say, well, we're going to see the Geminids, we're going to see the Taurids, or we're going to see the Lyrids. And the reason that you see all those will be explained in this video, but they're very, very predictable because they're traveling through what are the remnants of these comets that are flying basically in our world, past our world, and leaving this debris behind. And so I just want to play that video.
Nearly 50 tons of space debris crash onto the Earth every day. While some debris shyly dissipate into the atmosphere, others display a spectacular light show. Meteor showers occur when the Earth's orbit intersects with the orbit of a comet. As comets travel, they leave behind trails of rocky material, oftentimes the size of pebbles or grains of sand, but sometimes as large as boulders. Every year, the Earth crosses these trails of debris, known as meteoroid streams, and the planet becomes sprinkled with rocky material. The debris then race through the Earth's atmosphere, creating friction with air particles and generating vast amounts of heat. This heat vaporizes and illuminates the debris as they fall, creating streaks of light in the sky, popularly known as shooting stars. These celestial light shows are often named after the constellation where they appear to originate as seen from Earth's surface. Meteor showers that seem to fall from the constellation Perseus are called the Perseids, and those appearing from the constellation Gemini are called the Geminids. About 30 meteor showers can be seen from Earth throughout the course of a year. And because the showers are timed with Earth's orbit, the celestial phenomena are cyclical and occur at regular intervals. For example, the Perseid meteor shower happens every August, and the Geminid meteor shower happens every December. Meteor showers have inspired awe and admiration for millennia. In Christian tradition, the Perseid meteor showers symbolize the tears of a saint, Saint Lawrence, who was executed in August of the year 258. And in the 1st century AD, the astronomer Ptolemy believed that shooting stars were a sign of the gods looking upon mortals and listening to their wishes. Inspiring everything from making wishes to reveling at the sky, meteor showers are a reminder of our place in a dynamic and beautiful cosmic ecosystem.
So those are the two videos that I wanted to show because I think they clearly explain those two different phenomena that you see. And what's really cool about between the zodiacal lights, the meteor showers, and the comet is anybody with even a little bit of knowledge on their camera, even cell phones. When we were up taking pictures of the guy, I had my car like right on the bank. I said, just go lean on the car, grab your phone as steady as you can and take the pictures. And they were getting phenomenal pictures of this comet on their cell phones, handheld. So it was just like, this is the technology today. It's just unbelievable. So anything that of these three things that I just talked about, you can catch them with your camera. So you just got to get out there. But once you're out there looking at it, if it requires binoculars to see it, take some of those with you too, and just to soak it in, like soak in those photons into your own eye, because then then you will have actually had a connection, not through any media device, but you would have had a connection to you personally, chemically from up above. So anyway, that's my little blurb on that stuff.
Well, if we got hit by a meteorite, you'd have quite the connection.
Yeah.
Awesome, Paul.
Yeah.
There is another kind of a neat point to what you mentioned, though. The NASA DART spacecraft that was.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get rid of these videos.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
NASA's DART spacecraft that went out to Dimorphos in 2022. It crashed into the asteroid and cast some debris into the air, about 1 million kilograms, apparently, a rock into space.
Wow.
I'd say in 7 years' time, a lot of it is going to be approaching Mars, and it'll be the first man-made meteor shower.
Really?
In 2034.
Cool.
They're already calling them the dimorphids, I guess.
Dimorphids.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
After the collision. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I don't know. Well, it's probably a good thing that we tested the
It's
fact that we could bump an asteroid, but yeah, 1 million kilograms of rock was spread in space. Cool.
I don't know if the video said, but they said that 99% of the stuff, Mike, we probably would know this because Mike studied meteors a little more than we have, but 99% of the meteors that hit Earth are about the size of maybe your fingernail or a little smaller.
Yeah.
99% of them.
Yeah.
So there is one that's huge one.
Oh.
There's a name for it. The bow.
Just ask the dinosaurs. Yeah, there are big ones.
One's about the size of it, but there's one called, I think it's called the Boho or something like that. And it's the largest meteor in the world that they found.
Yeah.
It's huge, but rare.
Cool. Yeah, they're rare.
Just look at your crater, what hit that, and look at the dent it made. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look at that one that fell.
Just the visitor center.
Mm.
one that just was it last year that went through that woman's roof, landed
Yeah.
right through the roof of her house, landed on her bed. It was
Hmm.
about that big. I get my hands twisted. There we are. Yeah, it was only about that big. But boys, what a ruckus it created.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah. That's what, yeah, hang on a second. This was a little funny though. Yeah, so I'll just share this quick. So you're talking about meteors landing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, just missed the visitor center.
Visitor centers. The visitor center.
Where's that, Chris?
It's
Arizona.
Arizona, yeah.
Does it say how big it is?
Hmm? No.
It's big.
Okay.
Bigger in my backyard.
Okay, how about a Bino Bud next?
Sure. There's screen number 2. There we are. Alrighty, this is a little different here. Binocular target of the week this week by Bino Bud is the lawnmower cluster, or NGC 663. Believe it or not, it's called the lawnmower cluster. Yes. Does it look like a lawnmower? I don't know. NGC 663 is a young open cluster consisting of approximately 400 stars. It lies in the constellation Cassiopeia and is 7,900 light years from Earth. NGC 663 has, this I found interesting, 2 supergiant stars that are reaching the end of their main sequence lifespan. So when you see the photograph I have of it here, you'll see those 2 main sequence supergiant stars. But where do I find it in the sky? Well, if you went outside tonight at 9 o'clock, orient yourself 45 degrees northeast, look up, you'll see the W Cassiopeia. Towards the Perseus end, you got those 2 bottom stars. It's just almost directly in between the 2 and off to the right-hand side, just a little bit or just below it. A little closer view, there's those 2 stars at the bottom. And it's just right down here at the bottom. See, the lawnmower cluster. Pretty cool. What does that look like? Well, it's an open cluster, but it's kind of like a tight little group. And there's those 2 supergiant stars. They
Oh,
stand right out. So it's an easy target to find. It's almost like an ET with a fat belly, maybe. I don't know if you look at those as eyes, but anyway. In 10 by 50 binoculars, it's a good size. You'll find it's not bad, but you can look it up and see those 2 supergiant stars. You'll know you're on it. And if you look real close, or just off, not too far away from that, is actually our little buddy ET cluster. So compared to the full moon, well, it's almost the size of the full moon in size. So not too awful bad to find, not too hard to find. Are you ready for this one? I've been a long time waiting for this one. Why are astronomers like your lawn? Because they're cut above the rest. R. That's Binocular Target of the Week by Bino Bud.
What I look forward to most, the Bino Bud or the joke at the end?
I like the joke.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that.
We're cut above the rest.
Lawnmower cluster. That's kind of grabbing it though. Lawnmower cluster. Okay.
I guess we're motivated.
You can Google it, and it actually there, the lawnmower cluster. It's the first for me. I've never come across it before until I actually saw no stellarium.
Yeah.
It's
What?
like the wild duck
Really?
cluster to me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this lawnmower ran over the wild duck. It sent feathers everywhere.
Trisha's asking hopefully not silly question. The impact of the asteroid during the test is X number of light years away. What about the sound? How would that travel? Well, there wouldn't be any sound because there's no medium for the sound to travel through. So that would be the situation.
There's no noise in space.
Yeah. And there's a program called Battlestar Galactica. You guys watch the newer version of it. And it does show spacecraft going through space, but there's not a sound.
Yeah.
It's not like whoosh, with the Star Trek kind of things.
Yeah, because we're hearing everything going through our air and all that stuff that we have in our atmosphere to go through, but there's nothing like that out there.
Yeah, right.
The other part is all those spacecraft tilt when they turn. Well, airplanes do that. There's no air in space, so they don't have to tilt. They would either just go straight and turn and straight.
Might be a little tough slowing down though sometimes without doing that.
Mm.
Anyway, okay. Let's go with the Rosanna maybe next, Paul.
All right. Let's see if I can make this happen. Number one. Oh, that wasn't supposed to start yet.
Okay.
Hold on, Rosanna. You're getting notification. All right. Let me just
A
share.
funny fact.
I just need to share my screen. That's all. All right. Let me share that. Okay, Rosanna. Let's go.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey. Welcome back, Rosanna, for another wonderful fun fact again for this week. And this week, I think, is how do you call that? Summation of the last one. We got a bit of a cliffhanger, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see what's going on with Rosanna this week. Looks like she disappeared. Where'd she go? Do you see it on there anymore? I don't. What are you seeing on your screen? I don't know what you're seeing.
Maybe that's a
Rosanna's
cliffhanger.
watch.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she
Never
just,
worked on your desktop.
there it is. Is she back?
Yep.
All right. Sorry, Rosanna. I'm making a mess of you tonight. Okay. So Rosanna says, hi, Paul. When we last left Osiris Rex mission, they had lost their leader and were facing a critical technical issue. The issue was how to tell when the spacecraft was physically close enough to reach out and safely touch Bennu. You know that the awkward moment in a relationship. You know that awkward moment in the relationship. Just hang on now. Let me get my photos up. How many of us have done this one, eh? Beyond. That awkward moment in the relationship. The team had only ever seen distant images of Bennu, or Bennu, however you want to say it, and they had no idea what the surface would be like. Prodding it too enthusiastically could destroy the spacecraft. If it could be worse, it could be worse than poking a bear. Look at me poke him again. I love these cartoons. The team created 3 independent instruments that would use to pinpoint when the robot had touched the surface. They hoped these 3 instruments would serve as a redundant backups to trigger Tag Sam's compressed air cylinder to fire the contact. But the fall of 2016, Osiris-Rex was built and ready to fly. Getting to this point felt rather like a miracle. Well, it was. At one point, the team accidentally sent the casing for one of the spectrometers, overs, I guess, to a factory in Los Angeles at the same time. They sent it back up as well. The factory had burned to the ground. Then components of the Rex's spectrometer were involved in a traffic accident. Luckily, no one was injured, but the parts were never found. Creating backups for the backups of the backups became standard procedure. Finally, the spacecraft lay stacked atop a United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket at Florida's Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, ready for its September the 8th launch. Then, days just before the launch, a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket that was being refueled on an adjacent launch pad had exploded, sending flood of debris ricocheting across the launch pad. So there's the sequence that one that took. During the explosion, shrapnel struck the water deluge system, which floods launch decks to suppress damage from the rocket's flames. That same system was to supply Osiris-Rex's launch pad in just a few days. Due to the mission's complicated orbital trajectory, the next launch opportunity was a year away. Emergency responders worked around the clock, and just in time for the September the 8th launch, things were a go. It would be a 2-year journey to reach Bennu. I may have mentioned astronomers are patient bunch. Osiris-Rex's reached Bennu in the second half of 2018, and literally after decades of work, Bennu became a real world, a diamond-shaped world filled with cliffs and valleys, craters and hills, shadows and light. Well, there goes the beach landing they had originally hoped for. The 2D photos from the Osiris were not enough to safely plan a landing. So Queen's guitarist Brian May was brought in addition to shredding guitars, selling out stadiums across the world, and being knighted by the King of England. And by the way, for those who don't know, he also worked with Sir Patrick Moore over in England. This guy's unbelievable. So May is a trained astrophysicist who specializes in stereoscopy. I guess how you say it. May and his colleague Claudia Manzoni put together 3D images that showed just how difficult poking the Bennu bear would be. 4 sites were settled on, and keeping with the avian themes of Osiris, they were named Kingfisher, Sandpiper, Osprey, and Nightingale. This is Nightingale. So, in keeping with the theme of scientists and engineers disagreeing, the engineers favored Osprey, which lacked huge rocks, so less to risk. The scientists favored Nightingale as it was a fresh crater suffused with organic material, so scientifically speaking, it was more valuable. But Nightingale had a giant boulder the size of a 5-story building, and they called it Mount Doom. The greenlit Nightingale, anyway, no guts, no glory. Everyone held their breath as Osiris Rex hurtled toward Bennu. The 10-foot tagsome arm extended, slammed into the surface, the compressed gas cylinder fired, and debris flooded the collection chamber, nearly smothering the onboard cameras. If you are standing and cheering, sit back down. The asteroid didn't cooperate. It had the consistency of a children's ball pit. Cries of it's not stopping, it's digging down were heard. So the spring inside the tagsome arm had failed. Since the spacecraft didn't slow down, the detector measuring the resistance of the asteroid pushing back also malfunctioned, of course. In the end, mathematics saved Osiris Rexes. Based on the rate of descent calculations, the autonomous software correctly guessed when it was time to escape. The thruster fired, the spacecraft launched itself back into space, and the team separated due to COVID erupted into cheers, giving even more meaning to the phrase cheers heard around the world. However, the cheer was soon choked on when it was discovered that the sample was leaking into space. A few chunks of the asteroid had wedged under a membrane designed to keep the particles safe, and Osiris was becoming a salt shaker. In rapid problem solving mode, the team sent a series of commands to slow the leaking sample container inside a larger hermetically sealed capsule for the 3-year ride back to Earth. And it made it a year ago, just a year ago rather, September 24th, 2023. A 20-plus year project finally reached completion. And what do we do? And what do the samples contain? Well, that's a whole other story. And that is this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey.
A lot of us remember when that happened and everybody was going, oh no, the thing hit it's never going to work. It reached it, but it's not going to work. But through, the perseverance of all those amazing technical people, they were able to pull off something that probably should have never have happened.
Yeah. They're just what they're doing with missions now is just, it blows you away. Like, how do they, send a signal to it to tell it? I mean, there it is, 20-year mission, like you said, and that landed right in the exact area where they thought it was going to land when it came back.
Yeah.
Had lots in its sample. We'll talk about that maybe another.
Yeah. Elon Musk, move over.
Yeah.
We can put things where they belong to as well.
Yeah. Some amazing missions going on for sure. Thank you, Rosanna, for another great fun fact.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, let's get to some photos real quick because we're going to be signing off here soon. So let me bring them up. Let's take them over here. I do. I didn't. No, I had a lot of photos submitted, and that's awesome that people are taking the time to submit photos. But I could not possibly show everything, so because we're running out of time. But anyway, I've got some here to share. So let me give me a second, and I'm just going to give up my notes here.
Ever listen to that guy that tells you all about the bad things that medication will do to you, side effects that they have to tell you?
Oh,
Just play the video like that. And
Oh, yeah.
okay.
there, I did it.
Anyway, David Smart sent in one. I'm going to share my screen here first, though. I guess you probably want to see it. Bring it up.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So,
Where she be?
David says, hi, Chris. Last night, October 13th, 2024. That wasn't last night, I guess, but picture of the comet with Canon DSLR TI3 and ISO 100 or ISO 400. 1 second exposure. It was very windy and cold, he said. Yep.
Nice. So
Another one.
there you go.
Picture of the comet on the 18th of October. Oh, hang on. These ones here. Sorry. Yes. Picture of the comet, the 18th of October. First picture was with Dwarf 2, and the second one is with the Sea Star.
Sweet. Look at the anti-tail there.
Yeah, I see.
That's a sea star?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Nice job.
Yeah.
So that, David.
Fantastic.
And I think I got two more here from him a little bit later. It's the Andromeda Galaxy. Last night with the Dwarf 2, he said I took some structure of the Dwarf 2. Sorry, he does speaks French, so it's difficult to understand some of the English. The moon has not been helping, but it's time to play. So there we go. And there's another shot.
That's great.
That's with Dwarf 2, yeah.
Yeah, that looks really
Awesome.
good.
And he's right. The moon hasn't helped at all.
No, that's right. Absolutely. Thanks for those, David. Appreciate that. Okay, and we're going to go from there to Derek King's shot here.
Sweet.
And Derek said, grabbed a shot of the comet on Sunday night just before the show, October 13th, a Samsung S20 Ultra.
He got the tail well on that one, didn't he?
Yeah. In pro mode, 640 ISO and 4 second exposure. Turned out great since it was before the full moon. So nice
Yes,
job.
sir.
Well done. From there we're going to go to Duckman Arsenal's picture here. My Photoshop with a full harvest moon in the west in the morning of October 18th as the sun is rising in the east. Cool.
That's nice.
I think that was the hunter's moon, but beautiful. Nice job. Thanks, Duckman. And going to go to Jennifer LG here. Hi, Chris. A couple of photos. She said of Comet C2023A3 Schutzen Atlas taken from the Kingston Peninsula this past week.
Nice.
What fun it has been, she said, attempting to image this once-in-a-lifetime visitor to our solar system. Nice job, Jennifer. There's another one. Well done. Looks great.
Yeah.
Thank you for those. Chris Baldick here has a picture. He says, I think we've been both lucky. We've both been lucky with the weather this week. Here are a couple of pictures for Snaz. He said the first is an image of Comet 2023A3 over a country road. It was taken on October 17th at around 8 p.m. The full moon, well up in the opposite side of the sky, was illuminating the scenery. He said details DSLM 35mm lens at f1.4, ISO 800, 2 seconds. Tweaked a dozen different ways using free Lightroom features on an iPad. And he said the second picture here is of the hunter's moon. Cool, eh? Nice job. Rising over downtown London, Ontario. Taken on October 18th, 2024, around 7:15, he says. Details of DSLM 400 lens, f5.6, ISO 3200, 1/4 of a second.
Beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice shot.
The
Yep.
color in the trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. That's a great shot.
Good shot. Yep, well done. Thanks for that, Chris. And we're going to move on to Matthew DePray's picture here. His picture of here's my shot of the comet. I used a Canon DSLR 50mm lens and a star tracker. I stacked 53 12-second exposures and processed it in serial. Nicely done.
Yeah. Got the anti-tail really well.
There too, yeah.
And he's got an extremely long tail on it too, hey?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They got a lot of light
Way
collection there.
out there.
Yeah, he
Way
did.
out there.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
Nice job. Thanks, Matthew. Carry on here. A few from Brad Perry. Brad says it's been an exciting couple of weeks. He says, here's my favorite captures from the big October the 10th Aurora event in Durham Bridge. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Nicely framed. And the comet on October the 16th in Peniac, he says. Cool.
Oh, what a view from up there, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, look at the colors.
Beautiful.
Nice. And it's full moon rising on October 17th in Fredericton.
Sure.
So, thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Go from there to Julie Landry here. Get that full screen. No, I don't do. Hang on. Here's full screen down here. Here it is. Okay. Julie Landry, a comet from October the 13th. Pretty cool shot.
Yeah, very nice.
Thanks, Julie.
You see how wide that spreads, hey, in that shot.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Then what Huckett, Neposit, I'll call it. I'm going to say it wrong. When Huckett, Neposit. It's a handful. Comet from Wednesday evening.
That anti-tail there's coming right out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shot.
Very nice.
Awesome. Thank you. One from Ruth Emma Barr here. Next. Nice shot.
Yeah.
A lot of people are getting it like that.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see people getting out to get it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Jonathan Ettinger is next. His capture. Nicely done.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a no blaze star. Look.
Oh, right there. Yeah. No blade star yet. And we have one here from Jeff Melnichuk. Jeff says, iPhone pics not great, but Shuchinchan Atlas is pretty dim. I couldn't find it with my Mark 1 eyeball, so I just took a longer exposure shot between Venus and Hercules. So you got
Oh,
it.
you found it. What a shot.
That's the main thing. Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks,
Yep.
Jeff. And I'm going to go to Diane Craswell here for captures.
Nice.
Nicely done, Diane.
Yes, sir.
And there's another one.
Oh, beautiful.
Nicely set there.
Beautiful foreground.
Third one there. So she
right.
had to
There's
take
my-
the lighthouse and dim it down. She had to hit the lighthouse way down because it was really bright compared to the comet, but
I'm sure. Yeah.
great job. Yeah,
Nice. That's
Beautiful.
beautiful.
well done. I'm gonna move there from there to Heather Lapointe. October 17th at 6:28 p.m. Look at that. Nice moon.
Isn't it funny how it's got that shape when it first comes up?
Yeah,
You know, people think,
It's
oh, it's
distorted.
a picture, but no, that's exactly how it looks.
it
Well, no,
does.
it's hitting the ground and bouncing, so the top squishes, right?
Yeah. That must be it. Yeah. Thanks, Heather, for that. She said, I took this last night to Millet, Alberta. So nice.
Wow.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Here's Carol Meehan's capture from St. Stephen.
Ah, there you go.
Rose says, yeah, nice shot. And thank you, Carol and Crystal Didham here for capture of a nice moon halo
Yes.
Ooh, beautiful.
at 4:50 a.m. She said, "Yike, we got that early.
That's coffee time.
That's coffee time, right?"
That's the time
Thanks,
of day.
Crystal. Hebert here next. Lewisburg early morning Sunday.
Oh,
Like today, yeah. Nice, Margaret. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lindsay Higgins is up next. This morning she said around 6 a.m. Gotta love these clear skies lately for sure.
sweet. Yeah. Take
Right there.
advantage of it where you got it.
Nice detail.
Nice, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Audrey Sonoika's picture. Nicely done, Audrey.
Yeah.
And we're gonna move from there to where are we next? We're Paul, almost to Paul Owen. Sorry. Well, that's Mr. Paul Owen's shot.
There you go. Here's your anti-tail.
There it is right there. Yeah.
Good stuff, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a thrill to see.
It was, sir. And Mr. Mike Powell's shot.
Touching the stars. And
He's shining his flashlight.
I didn't even kick my coffee over.
Yeah. Yeah. Good job. Go from there finally to Lisa Fanning's capture here. October 24th. She has so many reasons to look up.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Nicely done, Lisa.
Very, very nice.
And I guess finally you're going to go to Mark Fickens Pritchard here. He said of a refractor cat, he said. Got to get them interested. That's the thing. Get them interested when they're young. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They just like the bag. That's all. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. If you have any photos you'd like to share, you can send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com. We'll do our best to get all of them up, as many as we can, next week's program. Okay, really quickly, what we talked about, what's up? It's this comet, of course. Here we are. We still have a possibilities of seeing it up in here. This is October 12th to 31st. By the 31st, it's going to get pretty dim, but I would probably try for binoculars now. I think Trudy said tonight that she saw it naked eye tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
so the
The moon's
contrast
coming up later too, right? So
That's true too.
that
Moon's
helps.
coming up later. There's more contrast. It's a darker sky, so
Yeah.
it's going to pop out a little better. So keep an eye out. You might be able to catch it in around here.
Yeah.
Next few nights.
I was gonna go out, but I got busy tonight.
Yeah.
It looks like
Yeah.
it looks like if you can find Venus, just look straight up in the next few days.
Pretty well, yeah. Straight up from Venus. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. We still got it till the 31st anyway, and by that time we might get a chance at this kind of sun grazing one we're talking about here too. So keep our
Yeah.
fingers crossed for that one. You can always take a look if you're looking for events that are happening through the month. You can go here to Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More. You can find Lisa at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon, and Facebook. And she lists all the dates of the events, the peak times for the events, and the seeing tools that you require to see them. So if we go down here to the 20th next week, the Orion meteor shower happens actually tonight, overnight tonight, the peak. But the moon is washing it out tonight. So, and it's usually only about 20 to 30 meteors per hour, and that's usually on a good year. So, so I wouldn't expect much. I would hold out for the Geminids, I think now, but we might have a full moon on that one as well. Jupiter's 6 degrees above the moon tomorrow night, and Mars is 4 degrees below the moon on Wednesday night. Last quarter moon on Thursday night. So there you go. So again, that's Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More. And I'm just going to bring this one up quickly. Actually, going to go back one. No, this one first. This is our sun right now, and these two sunspots here, 3842 and 54, are the ones that led to that nice display there a little while ago. They're coming back around again right now. So we're going to see if these happen to be some activity. So keep your fingers crossed for the next week or so. I'll put some posts up if I see anything happening with some solar flares over the next few days. Sun is very active right now. They say now that we have reached solar maximum. That's what NOAA is saying right now, but they've been wrong in the past too. Here we are with our calendar, the October-November calendar. You can get this from St. John Astronomy Club or sjastronomy.ca. Bert Nason puts this together. There's all the events that are happening throughout the middle of November. So that's it. And that's all I got to say about that there.
Sure.
Thanks everyone for all those great photos. And
Love the photos.
you
Yeah.
guys just chat up there for a second while I try to get my notes closing here.
Yeah, your closing notes.
My closing notes.
Anyway, it's been a thrilling year for astronomical events.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah, we were chatting that up the other night outside and just saying how many things we've seen. I mean, we had the eclipse. We've had numerous great auroral looks. We've had a partial lunar eclipse. We've had, this comet, possibly another.
Oh, yeah, it's been fantastic. Like it's been a crazy year for celestial events, and maybe it's happening every year. I don't know, but I don't. This has been a good year, and we've had pretty well good weather for most of them too. So we've done pretty well, all in all.
It's called luck. We've been very lucky.
But we'll take it, whatever it is.
But you know what's really cool about it is that it brings everybody out, and everybody has this collective vibe, this collective good vibe going on, and
right.
and more people are connecting to space, because anytime you get those gatherings, and I found this other night, I kept saying I wish I had my laser pointer, and I know some people frown, but I think they're great because it's exciting. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Mike. But we were doing some astronomy lessons while we were looking at the comet.
Yeah.
People were sharing their binoculars, and people were showing each other, oh, here it is, here, let me just show you the settings, and here, come on over here, and I'll lean on the car with you. And well, it was such a community thing. It was just unbelievable. And everybody was happy and excited, and we just need more of that, right? So
astronomy is uplifting, pardon the pun, but it is. I mean, people people are, they look forward to a lot of celestial events, I find. And I'm like, the responses that are coming up on my page all the time, I put up a small picture of the moon and I get 25 people that post the same thing. So perfect. It's
Yeah.
the interaction that I like the most, right? And, we're all sharing it together. So yeah, keep it up, folks. So that's our show then for this evening. Next week, local astronomer and storyteller Kurt Nason will be with us again, joining us with another interesting constellation of the month talk. Our special thanks goes, of course, to Rosanna again for another interesting fun facts. Thank you, Rosanna. We hope you enjoyed the program tonight. And to all of you who share the program for us, thank you all. Remember, too, we do love getting your photos, so send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to put them on our next broadcast. Special thanks again goes out to our friends at Rogers for joining us this evening. So until next week, wishing you all clear skies. As we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view the skies and keep your scopes. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week. And let's sign off. This way.